Some examples. In this one, there's a common factor, the 4. So it becomes 4 times x squared plus 4x plus 4. There's no term in front of the x squared, so you find factors of c that add up to equal b. That would be 2 and 2. So this will become 4x plus 2 times x plus 2. Since it's the same thing, that can be simplified into x plus 2 squared. Now you break it apart. 4 equals 0, that's false. So x plus 2 squared equals 0. Now, this is basically you're finding the square root. Take the square root, x plus 2 equals 0, x equals negative 2. Now, in number 2, there's nothing that you can factor out. The factors of negative 4 that add up to 5 are negative 4, let's change that to a 3. I apologize for the error. So this is now x squared minus 3x minus 4. So the factors of negative 4 that add up to negative 3 are negative 4 and 1. So x minus 4, staying conscious of the negative sign there, and x plus 1. Now set each chunk equal to 0. X minus 4 equals 0. X plus 1 equals 0. Now x equals negative 1. X equals 4. These are your two roots. And with this, there's a term in front. So we want to multiply the two n terms together. You get 24x squared. So carry down 3x squared and the 8. You leave an extra wide gap because you're going to have two new terms. The factors of 24x squared that add up to 14 are 12x and 2x. Separating it down the middle, you have on this side common factor of 2 and then x plus 4. This side your common factor is 3x. That goes x plus 4. Your x plus 4 chunk is the same. So now carry that down. X plus 4. These will become the parts of your second chunk. Since that's positive, it's a plus. So 3x plus 2. Now separate each chunk and have it equal to 0. X plus 4 equals 0. 3x plus 2 equals 0. X equals negative 4. 3x equals negative 2. X equals negative 2/3. And these, once again, are your roots. Now, multiply them together. The n terms here, since nothing can be taken out, multiply them together. You get 4x squared. Now carry down the 2x squared. Since this is positive, there's negative, you know it has to be two negatives. So the two negative numbers, negative factors of 4 that add up to 5, are negative 4x and negative x. So now separate them out. Common factor on this side, 2x, x minus 2. Common factor here, negative 1, x minus 2. carry down that chunk, take these terms and combine them into another chunk, separate them out, and solve for x. You can solve any equation that has a square, that after you put it through the discriminant, has a square number with this method. I chose all of these equations so that they would come out nicely in the discriminant. However, if they don't come out to a square number in the discriminant, the fifth method can solve that. It's called completing the square. The way you do this is you subtract the c term from both sides. So it turns into ax squared plus bx equals negative c. Then you divide the b term in half and square the half of the b term. Add that to both sides. On this side, you'll form a perfect square trinomial. You also have to add it to this side, because what you do to one side, you do the other. Then factor the perfect square trinomial on one side. Do not factor the negative c side, because you're merely simplifying a trinomial. It's not adding anything or tweaking the numbers. And take the square root of both sides. Remember, with your number term, since it's a square root, it has to be positive or negative. So you'll have two answers. Then solve for x. Again, if you need to review the vocabulary, perfect square trinomial is one that can be factored to x plus q squared. Using this method, you can solve any quadratic equation, because all numbers can be divided in half, and all numbers have a square root, even though they aren't perfect squares. Now, with this, now we're going to check this in the discriminant. Negative 6 squared is 36 minus 4, 7. 36 minus 28, 8. No, wait. That is not a perfect square. So x squared minus 6x, I'm going to leave a blank to fill in the number, equals 7. Negative 6 divided in half is negative 3. Then squared is 9 plus 9. 7 plus 9 is 16. Then factoring out the perfect square trinomial, x minus 3 squared equals 16. Take the square root, x minus 3 equals positive or negative 4. Now, at this point, you break it into two things. X minus 3 equals 4, or x minus 3 equals negative 4. Now, solve for x. X equals 7, or x equals negative 1. These are your roots, 7 and negative 1. Now again, 64 minus